In this video we're going to use these four 500 gig hard drives to create a nominal 2 terabyte super drive running at over 450 megasecond. Hi there, Alby Tastic here and welcome. To create that super drive, we're going to invoke the RAID facility built into the Z800, namely RAID 0, also known as striping. Once we've loaded the drives into the Z800, we start the machine. And once the first page comes up, we press any key. That should start the Option ROM readings. Once you get this at the bottom, press Ctrl I. You have to be pretty quick here because you've only got about a second or so before the boot up sequence starts. If that should happen, you'll need to press the power button to shut down the machine and start again. If you're successful, you'll then be in the RAID configuration. The first screen contains the default to create the RAID array. Press enter and you'll be taken to the second screen where you can name the array if you wish. If you just press enter, it's automatically named as volume 0. I renamed the array as RAID 1. Note, this is just my name for it, I'm not invoking RAID 1. The next choice is the kind of array you want. RAID 0 is the default here, so just press enter. Here you press enter to select the disks which will be used in the RAID 0 array. To select the disks to be used, you just press the space bar and then the down cursor key, the arrow pointing down on your keyboard, to move to the next disk. Repeat that until all the disks have been selected, then again press enter. This selects the strip size to be used by the controller. The default here is 128K, so press enter again. Here you can either create a single RAID 0 array, or if you wanted, select perhaps a smaller value to allow you to create 2 RAID 0 arrays. But here we'll just press enter to leave it at the default setting to create the single RAID 0 array. Pressing enter here will bring up this warning dialog box, but we want to create the array, so just press Y for yes. Once that's done, we are back at the first screen, but this time we can see that the array now exists because all disks are now marked as member disks, which means they are all part of the RAID 0 array. So with that done, we can just press escape to exit, and then Y for yes, we want to exit. Once we've created the super drive, we need to finalize it to make it usable by initializing it and then formatting it. Start Windows, then click on Start, then System, and then Control Panel. Here I'm using small icons so all the choices are visible. Click on Administrative Tools, then on Computer Management, and then Disk Management. At the Initialize Disk dialog box, you have the choice to choose either MBR for the super drive or GPT. Here I've chosen MBR because the Z800 is an older computer and doesn't support the EFI interface, for which GPT is the standard. Once we click on OK, the next screen appears where we get to choose the formatting options. I've chosen to create a simple volume, and once clicked on, the simple volume wizard appears. Here I click on Next, and the Specify Volume Size dialog box appears. At this point I can create a partition or number of partitions if I want. I choose to create the largest disk possible because I can use a partition manager like Aomi to create them later. Note that the super drive we created is bootable because, unlike RAID created by software, it was created by the Z800 hardware, so a boot drive partition on it is available in the BIOS as soon as the machine starts. The next dialog box assigns a drive letter to the super drive, and the next box sets the formatting parameters. Here I chose to call the drive RAID and perform a quick format. Clicking Next brings up the last dialog box, and after checking that everything is correct, clicking Finish completes the task and then shows the disk correctly formatted and named RAID. And that's it. The one last thing to do is to check the speed of it, and Crystal Disk Mark shows that it is indeed very fast. So we can take it as a success. In the next video in this series, we're going to fit a very fast USB 3 card to enable very fast file transfers from an external drive. So in the meantime, over to you, Amelia.
Hello friends. If you enjoyed our video, can I ask you to give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We would love to have you as a regular viewer. Thank you, and have a lovely day.